Hey everyone, welcome back to Overwatch Replay. We have a special one this week. We've got a console Lucio player that's actually in plat, which is higher than we are on PC, but exactly where we are on console. So we can do it. We can do this, Julien.
Yes, we got this. We got this one.
As you know, Overwatch Replay is the show where we bring you the tips and tricks and everything you need to know as far as we know. We can't do all of the mechanics, but we know what they are. And we help to improve our games and your games and everyone who's listening. And please make sure that if you're interested in submitting your own VOD for a review, and we do it for free, take a nickel's worth of free advice, submit it to our email or comment to us. We'll make sure that we can get that information to you. Link in the description, or the emails in the description below.
Yes.
Julien.
Yes.
Lucio,
a character.
How do you feel about Lucio?
I think he's an excellent character for anyone to be who's an aspiring support hero that wants to, engage the team more than just healing, and also provide a speed boost, for instance, to his team or her team. I think he's an excellent hero, and he does a lot of AoE healing, which is an incredible addition to most teams. So I think that he's a very valuable character, and he's super in the meta right now, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Or at least halfway in the meta.
Like double tank, triple support, triple tank, double support meta with Brigitte out and broken. I think that Lucio is a very strong character to play, and so this is actually a pretty good example of a lot of different lines and things that we'll be seeing from a Lucio player that knows how to wall ride, at least forward, particularly well. And so we're just going to try and go through this. It's a short win. In the future, I think it might be better if we could see some losses in addition to wins, because we've only reviewed wins so far. But some losses might highlight some mistakes that don't get covered up. And so if you really want to truly improve your gameplay, send us some losses. We did too many win reviews, I think, when we were back in the day. Anyway, going straight into it, we've got a pretty solid comp from this team. We've got a Lucio D.Va with the duo, then Genji Reaper, then a Moira Reinhardt. So first off, I would like to say that I don't think that Lucio Moira is the best pairing. I just think that they're,
in terms of team comp,
they're not antithetical to each other, but they're not the best kind of pairing for each other. There's nothing that Lucio does to help Moira, and there's nothing that Moira really does to help Lucio. And both of their ults are not supremely advantageous in the same way that a Lucio Zen pairing or a Lucio Mercy pairing would be.
I agree.
So right off the bat, that's what I'm noticing. But then again, it's still 2 healers, 2 DPS, 2 tanks, which is pretty great when we think about, even at the plat level, having a more balanced comp.
If you have that going for you, you can be assured that your game will be at least somewhat balanced in the terms of DPS, tanking, and of course healing, which you do. Yes.
Yeah. So here we go, straight into the match. One of the things that I want our viewers to notice, at least off the bat, is this line that the Lucio is going to take right out of the gate. This is a pretty good line to take in order to make sure you're maximizing your wall run, your speed. You're going to boost people out. You hit that, come over. This is a perfect run in terms of getting over there. Now we get the team engaged.
Right.
So right off the bat, I'm going to say this player likes to prove to himself and everybody on the field that he is the best goddamn Lucio player on the map. And we'll see this throughout the fight. Now, pride is an important part of gaming. I will say that when I play, I would prefer to main tank as my main, right? And when I'm playing an enemy, Reinhardt or Orisa or whatever, and we're matching a mirror comp.
Sorry, I gotta stop. Did we thank whoever sent the person that sent this in? Sorry.
I don't know that we said thank you. No.
No, I just want to say thank you for sending in your video. I wanted to point out their gamer tag. That's all I wanted to do.
Digital R2D2.
Digital R2D2. Thank you so much for sending in your video, of course. But keep going, Ivan. You were on a train of thought.
Yeah, so I do enjoy outriding an enemy Rhine, for instance. And we'll see throughout this match that Digital R2D2 loves to out Lucio the enemy Lucio. Mm-hmm. Not always the most important thing, especially when the boop can be canceled out by the wall ride so extremely well. I mean, we'll see Digital R2D2 cancel out a boop. We'll see the enemy Lucio cancel out boops. This is actually a pretty decent comp in terms of Lucio v Lucio. So when you see that you're not getting the better of your enemy Lucio in terms of booping him off the map, focus on easier targets to boop. That would be my number one. And you can prove that you're a better Lucio by just winning the game.
That's also true.
So here we've got the enemy Pharah coming in, the enemy Lucio.
Right.
And this is a pretty good line to take in terms of capping the point. I wouldn't necessarily, because you can spin around that top area, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's necessary with 15 seconds left on the point, because you'll wait for the enemy team to engage, but that's the line that you want to take when you're spinning around inside, because it gives your AoE healing a lot of maximized efficiency while making yourself really hard to hit.
Yeah, I think Lucio is really tailored pretty well for this map in particular. He helps out a lot on the point.
So we're sending a lot of spam into that defensive matrix. We could have moved back, but these are minor things. So, in terms of Lucio's weapon, how do you think that Lucio's weapon works best?
Getting headshots and finishing off. No, I think he can poke pretty well. I think he launches. I mean, we know each one of his shots does as much as Soldier, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Currently, so he can do a lot of damage, especially if he's landing headshots. But his weapon is a projectile. It travels at a certain speed. It's not instantly doing damage once your crosshairs are on them. So you have to factor that in and lead your opponent, obviously. So this guy knows that. But really, I think his most important tool, I think, in terms of a utility character, is his boop. It moves characters out of the way, and they can't do much about it unless they've shielded it in some sort of way.
Yeah, so this is why he's really great for protecting, for instance, Zenyatta, that slow-moving character. He can boop enemies out of the way.
Displacing enemies. Yeah.
And he can speed boost Zenny, who's a very slow character, out of the way, who wouldn't otherwise, like Anna and Zenyatta, who wouldn't otherwise have ability to move around the map. He allows them to have that kind of movement, so that's why I think that they're a little bit better to support. The other thing I would say is his projectiles being slow moving means that he can spam a choke.
Yeah,
but he's not going to be super effective at it. He's not he's not Pharah spamming a choke with that splash damage. The Diva micro missiles, things like that. So in terms of spamming a choke, it's okay. It's not the best use of it. So monitor where you're using the weapon. I think Lucio's real advantage is that mid close range fight.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, the effective thing about Lucio, obviously, is that he can heal and do damage at the same time, or speed boost and do damage. So he can just put lingering damage at a certain range, and that's pretty useful. But definitely, you're not gonna be sniping anyone unless your opponent is literally just standing still at a choke point. So what you're saying is right. Mid and close range is where Lucio shines.
So here we're engaging the pump it up onto the speed boost, making you super fast. We're engaging with one other person. So what this tells me is that the team isn't focused on fighting on this side. I mean, in your area, there's not a lot of people. You've got Reaper and Reinhardt, who should be the close engaged people. Those are the people that Lucio should be sticking with in terms of engaging on the front line.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that medium to close range fight, and Lucio is a pretty good, when paired with Moira, Lucio should be the front line support. So especially on like point maps where you have to escort something, Moira should be payload, and Lucio should be engaging if you're doing the 5-in-1 split strategy. So I would recommend that you, as Lucio, are making sure that you're sticking with your close range fighters. Diva is also decent at the close range engage, more powerful than at the long range. So when you're teaming up with, for instance, in your duo, make sure that you're pressuring wherever D.Va is pressuring at the same time. That way you both are increased in your effectiveness. But you do a good job of making sure that that the enemy knows that you are able to engage them. But I think that if you work together, that pressure point has more effectiveness and more efficiency in its ability to finish kills. Because you, as Lucio, are putting damage on, but you're not finishing a lot of kills. We'll see that you do like 30 damage, 20 damage, 30 damage, which is great for a Lucio. Lucio can put in a bunch of damage, but he's not generally the person who's finishing the kill, which is why you need to be paired with somebody who can finish that kill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems like you maybe in a past couple of games you gotten some sick boobs, and it looks like you're trying to take advantage of those, and that's something. It's obviously a very valuable thing to your team to just eliminate an entire swath of the enemy team, right? You can eliminate 2 or 3 people at the same time with just one move, and it looks like you're going for a lot of boops over here, but it becomes dangerous. Say, I mean, I don't know what patch this is on, but let's say this Hanzo it has scatter arrow, right? And scatter arrow can eliminate you immediately, and you're being the front line right now. And I agree with what Ivan says. You can be the front line with Lucio, but you need your team to help you out in order to do that. I don't think Lucio is so well fit to be a DPS character, for instance.
So here we've got what I'm seeing is that 0 people are with you.
Right.
So the Mercy is over here, the Hanzo is here, the Brigitte is here. You split them a little bit, but if Brigitte stuns you, and if Brigitte had turned at any point and stunned you, your sound wave is on cooldown. Now you can move away pretty fast, but if you get stunned, Hanzo gets the headshot with a damage boost from anybody. That's bad news for Lucio. So make sure that you're managing when you're diving in, when you're engaging.
Who you're diving in on.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to get those sweet boops.
You could get a sweet boop on Zenyatta, for instance. That's a very easy target, or an Ana. Or Ana is kind of dangerous. She could sleep target, but like Zenyatta would be super easy target.
So here is a great space to view where you are in relationship to your team. Your team is on that side.
And critical, might I add.
Critical. We've seen that the Genji got booped down. Everybody's over there. That's where you should be engaging with your team. We can see that left side on the far side in that white room, that's where the engagement is happening for your team. Everybody over here, if they turned and focused you, would kill you.
Yeah.
That's a positioning error. Right now, you're super out of position. The enemy team should kill you.
They should, and not to mention you're denying your team one healing and also your ult. Your ultimate is an incredible sound barrier. It's an incredible ability. It can completely stop the enemy team's offense, or it can help your team engage. And if you're not building that up as quickly as possible, you're going to be denying your team a very valuable resource. So
exactly. And so how you're doing that with healing, with damage boosting, like damaging down a target, etc. If you're killing 0 of these people, then you're not building your ult with efficiency. How you build your ult with efficiency is when you're teaming up with your team. The enemy is going to get basically a free range in, even if you boop them off of you. They're getting a free range entrance into this side of the point when the point is unlocking. So if we move in, we see, okay, here we are. That would have been a better time if you were just on this side of that Mercy. You could have booped her away and headshotted her when she's away, and then she has to Guardian Angel, which gives her a flight path that is an understood flight path. So you can move her as she's moving this way towards whoever she's moving to. You know how she's moving, and that makes her an easier target for you to hit. Again, one person. You're against the Brigitte. You can get stunned here very easily and brought down. Yeah, I'm extremely surprised.
But here's good positioning. You were with your team, and now you're wall riding with this Lucio. You're providing the whole point, 4 people on your point, on the point with healing. So you're doing maximum efficiency. Very close to maximum efficiency with Lucio. Maybe you could be focusing on a different target, but
I think that Lucio is fine to focus on. It's pretty good. There, you finish the kill.
And that was a good kill, definitely. Yeah. That's the range you want to engage with Lucio.
Yeah, and you made sure to do head boops. The one thing that I noticed throughout your play is I don't think I've seen a single melee hit throughout your entire gameplay. Make sure that you know the Lucio combo. It's free damage, so the Lucio thing is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can interrupt the 4th with a melee, or you can let the 4th go and hit with melee, and then boop. So you interrupt 3 with melee, interrupt melee animation after damage has been dealt with boop, and that should be the maximization of Lucio's combo. If you get all 4 melee and boop in one go, then that is a one-shot on Tracer, for instance. But you have to go shot, melee, boop. Shot, melee, boop.
And right there, I mean, obviously you eliminated the Hanzo, which was super sick, but both your tanks are critical back here, so it was good that you came back to heal them up. But D.Va lost her mech, unfortunately.
Yeah, she's had her mech gone. So now you get this wall ride started at some point, and that's the good thing. Your backwards wall riding probably needs some mechanical moves. You turn to face the Pharah, and your team is able to secure the point. I love it. Mm-hmm. Again, you do this line, which is a pretty good line. You miss it slightly, but I mean, in general, it's a good line.
Yeah, can't blame you for missing it. It's a difficult line to pull off sometimes.
This is good in terms of pushing
Very
your
good,
team.
yeah. You're pushing your Reinhardt forward. He has his ult. D.Va gets 3 kills. It was a super sick play that you were part of, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And there you finish off the combo with the boop, which is good.
That was really good too. Yeah, that was an awesome bout of kills that your team got, and you were definitely part of it, which is your purpose. You got to support your team, right? So it's good.
Now, in terms of balancing the speed and heal, there is a mechanical combination that you can do called the bunny hop, which involves enabling the hold to fade crossover on PC. On console, I'm not positive how it works, but doing that enables you to balance out and basically use speed boost and heal at the same time, basically, because every time you're on the ground you're in speed, and when you're in the air you switch to heals, and so it's about canceling animation and making that happen. So that's a upper echelon mechanic for Lucio. If you want to check out some VODs on how to specifically do that bunny hopping mechanic with Lucio, I would recommend it. Again, this is also probably pre-Lucio wall ride 2.0.
We can put it in the description below.
Yeah.
The links.
So wall ride 2.0 also enhances all of the thing because it makes it easier. You're clearly a very good Lucio in terms of making those wall ride lines, so you've got some skill in doing that. I'm sorry that they made it easier for everybody else to do what you do. Alright, so here we have the enemy team's Lucio has dropped the barrier. What does that mean? That means that the team fight is engaging. You're hoping right here to end the team fight. This is the line that you're going to take. You want to end the team fight by taking out one of their players. Now, that is a calculated risk. We'll call that a high risk, low reward play.
Right, depending on how many players you take out.
Right. You've got an enemy Pharah, and the person that you're going to engage on the bridge, based on the scouting information that you have right here, is a Lucio, who has the ability to wall ride and could get out of it, or if the D.Va gets to the point, a D.Va who could fly out of it. So in this regard, I would say that this is a higher risk, low reward play. Now, if you scouted from the other side coming across the bridge with your team, you could try and get the boops left or right. Remember, there are 2 ways that you can boop off that bridge. And you have the added benefit of Reinhardt's shield and your team to help you scout out where that is coming from.
Right. You essentially, Ivan, I believe, is trying to say you engage this fight without knowing anything, with giving yourself a very limited amount of time to assess the situation, right? You immediately jump in and you just decided Lucio is your target. And I mean, fine, this is a fine target in this situation, but like Ivan says, Lucio can get out of this situation pretty easily, as you probably know.
So, in this regard, that's why I'm saying it's low reward. You've dropped to below half health, and you engage here. Okay, you're gonna boop him. Okay, now you have to wall ride to safety. There you go. And now, if the enemy team turns on you, your boop is gone. You have no safe way to disengage their aim. You're facing a team that can all turn and face you.
And Brigitte is there.
Your cooldowns are down.
Doesn't stun you again. Or did she?
You're health by 0 people on your team, and now they're turning to face you.
And another reason why it's high risk is because you are a very valuable asset to your team right now because you have sound barrier.
Yep. And now, you die. So you have provided exactly 0% help to your team in this engagement because you were selfish and you are engaging, trying to end a team fight by yourself without doing anything. This is a standard solo queue mistake, but it can be remedied by solo queue or duo queue, whatever. Duo queue, solo queue, through the team. So you can try and end that fight earlier with a boop, but do it in coordination with your team. You had 0 people that were around you.
I think a lot of this game in general is just, a lot of people play this game really strung up and ready to go, and maybe on tilt, for instance. We call the game over tilt, for instance. But on the comms. But it's still a game where you can just take a step back, assess the situation, and then make a decision. You don't have to go gung-ho in and just with no plan whatsoever. You know what I mean? So and putting yourself in a more advantageous situation will win you more fights on average. So that's what Ivan is trying to say. Just play with your team.
Yeah,
and you will win the fight.
Doing nothing isn't the same as losing.
Yeah.
Doing nothing is sometimes setting up a better play. For instance, if you had scouted that out a little better through different movements, or use the information that you had through your scout by hopping up, rather than going forward and engaging with the Lucio who wouldn't have been booped off the map no matter what, basically, at that point, you could have waited for the sound barrier to dissipate, supported your team, and dropped a sound barrier, won the fight, rather than possibly losing the fight.
Right.
So here,
for instance, right now would be a great time to use sound barrier, or just a couple seconds ago. Well, a couple of seconds ago, when Diva and Reinhardt were on the point, if he was still alive, for instance. I'm not saying like right now, but if he had survived that his initial engagement and was with his team and moved back with his team as the enemy team was pushing forward onto the point, everyone would be critical, for instance, and if he pops sound barrier at that point, you guys have a more fighting chance, I think.
Right.
That's the play I'm talking about.
So that goes back to a little bit before.
Yeah.
When we're here. No, that's a minute before. So here, if we have these 3 or 4 people, we can sound barrier them.
Yeah.
It's possible to extend this fight and help with that.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. Sorry if that was...
So here we have Brigitte. You have that one-on-one. You get the solid boot. You're backing out. That's great. You've got 2 people on the point. You then re-engage with the Brigitte.
She finally stunned you. But she just... Yeah. I think she made the right play in just backing up. Because you could have booped her also.
Yeah, I would say that it was a good wait for your team. This is a decent contest because, again, you're holding the point. The enemy team isn't super capable in this position. And so you can build the percentage as you climb in elo, obviously. The team will be able to cut down those 2 or 3 people who are left on the point. The enemy team couldn't finish off a Genji and a Moira. That's probably because their aim sucks. They're on console, and even aim assist can't help you if your aim sucks. Which you can get to plat with sucky aim on console.
Yeah.
So, what you're doing here is extending the fight, building a percentage on the point, and perhaps even being able to take back the point, though I would consider that doubtful.
And a thing sorry, just a minor thing that is good what he did, that maybe some Lucios in lower tiers might not do, is when you use sound barrier, flip on the speed boost. You're already giving your team how many points? Like 600 points of health? Or something like that. I don't know how much it is exactly. If you just speed boost them for the short period of time that it's active, then you're helping your team out extra. So, and then flip back to healing when it's done.
So at this point we could flip back to healing.
Yeah.
Most likely because you see people are critical. Healing should be a focus when people are lower in health. You shouldn't use it super to top people off. I think that's a waste of most people. That should be your ambient heal. But you should be able to focus heal when people are getting down to critical. You switched here, you switch back. That's a decent management. And you use the heal to make sure that this D.Va stays alive. That's good.
Yeah, no, good healing there all around. I don't know where your Moira is. She should be helping out, but I guess she went down, right? No, she's back up. She just used her ult. And D.Va used her ult. And Reaper got a kill on Brigitte, which she was... Isn't Brigitte, like, almost made to counter Reaper?
Yeah. So that's clearly this is working out. Okay, here I want to notice one of the things which I've seen in your gameplay, which is an unnecessary use of boop, which comes out a lot of the times. Yeah, you're pushing a character away that you should be engaging with closer, and you're not using it to its full effectiveness. So here, what you're going to do is you're going to focus this Mercy, and you're going to use the boop to try and, like, I guess deal more damage to her. But there's no need to use this boop here. You can have her one-on-one, your team is around, she has nobody here. You use the boop and it pushes her towards her target. Rather, you can just fire on her, and then when the Mercy, who is fucking insane, goes to use her res, guess where you can use the boop? And you would have been on top of her rather than so far behind that you couldn't use your boop or anything to disrupt this res. So here you miss almost all of your shots. She gets the res up, and they continue this fight a little longer. Especially since she reses Brigitte. You could have used the boop to cancel that res, kill the Mercy, and make sure this fight ends way sooner. Definitely. For instance, if they had the point and were gaining like point percentage because of that, that would have been goofy.
Right. I guess something that people don't really know is or don't focus on in some games, like our games, is when Mercy is resing. She can bring back a character, and it's really powerful. And all you have to do is just simply move her far enough away that it's not active. So D.Va can do that, Lucio can definitely do that, and Reinhardt can dash into her if he needs to. Or actually, maybe a swing of the hammer might be enough to displace her. And Pharah can do it as well.
Orisa can halt her away generally. Pharah can boop her away too. So there's a few different boops. That was a good... So what you did there is you knew the enemy team was going to be re-engaging, and you stepped up to that point where the enemy team would be distracted. That was good because you had two people engaging on the point, and in general it was probably good because you're also building ult. Your team is pretty decent on the point at this stage. So you had 3 people go down there.
It's tough to take on Mercy, who's ulting, as you can see, especially as Lucio, actually.
Yeah, since your shots aren't going to land.
Yeah.
So, in general, one of the other things I've seen is towards the end of the fights, you're so excited to engage and make sure that the fight ends, that you're a little out of position several times. So I don't know that necessarily your healing could have saved from that Pharah ult, but maybe it could have sustained somebody like Reinhardt who has that armor. That armor points, Reinhardt, any healing that happens during the armor phase is essentially twice as effective, because armor subtracts 5 damage from anything that's incoming. So it's almost twice as effective to heal up 1 point of armor, you see. So
but yeah,
you're delaying, which is pretty good.
This is good. This is fine. Hanzo lands a shot on you finally.
And you're able to do this while engaging with the Lucio, which is great. And your Reaper saves the day.
Mm-hmm. And
thanks to your engage.
Yeah, I mean, you were distracting the whole team, and Reaper could just come in and do a sick ass Q or Y for Xbox.
And here we go.
Yeah, so this is the second play.
We're all coming in.
Get your team there.
So here we're engaging. At this point, you can drop the speed boost and engage with the healing boost. The speed boost is basically doing nothing for this engagement at this point. You're not closing the distance really with this, based on how your team has been fighting. You can switch back.
But he's making the converse of that is he's making his teammates harder to hit because they're moving faster.
I mean, they're behind a shield. They're hard to hit anyway.
I'm just saying it's possible that could be useful.
The heal at that point could have prevented you to be down to 13. So if you had the healing from that full engagement, your health would have been closer to 50. And with the full heal, you would have been up to probably closer to 200. And then you wouldn't have dropped down this low and wouldn't have been killed by Hanzo. Most likely.
Well, if Hanzo got a headshot, then he would have killed you anyways. But
what's 150 for max damage on that headshot, or no?
I'm pretty sure it is, or it's not. I don't know. Hanzo does a lot of damage.
This is pretty good engage.
Yeah, definitely.
You're leading your team in with speed boost to finish off picks that are cleanup. This is pretty excellent. Make sure that when you get to this point that you're not using the speed boost to help your Reinhardt go off the point. Your Reinhardt will engage, and the speed boost, I'm pretty sure, helps him go off the map. That's not technically your mistake. That's a Reinhardt mechanics error. Everything's going pretty well.
Yeah, you're doing a fine job of helping.
So there, you do it perfectly. You hold off from using the boop. Except for if you had used the boop at the last second, look at where she is. You use the boop here, she's dead. That's the end of the combo with the team.
Or get a melee in. I think she's close enough for a melee, too, if he was turned a little bit to the right. I think this was a good engage. You made sure Reinhardt. You looked back to see who was coming. You made sure Reinhardt was there. You speed boosted him forward, and you also got to your teammates and used sound barrier. So I think this was a good engagement of 4 teammates, which now have an exorbitant amount of HP.
Yep, and it leads to a very good hold on this point. The enemy Zenyatta is doing goofy things. The enemy Ana nano boosts him, which is stupid.
And you guys got a team kill.
And you throw in some emotes.
Which is pretty sick.
In a day's work.
Yeah.
Alright, let's speed boost together. Good. There's a slight mechanical error. Obviously, make sure that your backwards wall riding is turned on and all of that jazz.
And another thing that maybe lower ranked Lucios might forget to do, if you see D.Va's ult coming in, switch to speed boost. It helps your team get away from it. Even if it's just a couple, like a split second, your team can value it a lot.
So here you're on speed boost. I don't know who you're speed boosting at this point. Stay on that healing.
Yeah, I think it's
no
probably muscle memory at this point for you. You like to switch a lot between speed boost and healing, and I think that's a valuable thing to do at many points. But for instance, in that you need to maximize your healing also, so that's something you want to focus on. And you wanted to talk about this point.
Yeah, that's a good line that you took. The only time that it makes sense to contest on a point that you're losing super hard is when you're going to contest on it to build your percentage. So here, you're letting the point go. It's here that you need to drop down, and you can build that up to a 99%. You drop in a little late, and then from here on in,
I
for
think
the next 30
right
seconds,
idea.
It's the right idea. It's a little late. Go when you're up that high, drop at like 50 to 66%, rather than where you were. So here is when we talked about early in the game your love of engaging with proving that you're the best Lucio. This is where it's the most ridiculous thing that we've seen in this entire thing. This next 15 to 20 seconds basically since the point has been taken, all of this is wasted time. Your team is dying off, and you're trying to take on this Lucio one-on-one, but this Lucio has decent skills in order to stay on the point. You're doing nothing. Yeah. Behind you, people are dying, people are being demeched, you're losing all sorts of things. You're not engaging in a team fight at all, and you're wasting basically your entire team.
Yeah, right. I mean, just look at the kill feed. Your team you could be helping out. You see 3 people are critical over there. It's a little interesting to think that you wouldn't be supporting your team when you're a support character in that situation, right?
Yeah, you could have, if you had gone to your team, the Diva wouldn't have been demeched at that moment, and all sorts of things. So you let down your duo partner a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. I would never let you down. Good kill on Tracer.
There, it's a decent sound barrier. If you don't hear it specifically, the sound barrier there is dropped especially to try and combat Junkrat's tire. So I think it's a decent place to drop the beat, but I would prefer it to be in the team re-engagement. Here, if we go back just a second. Okay, when do you use this boop? You use it there, after the stun. That's a good place to use it. So you use it there after the stun, but in a later fight you'll use it before the stun, which makes her easier to kill you. When engaging with the Brigitte as Lucio, if she's going to stun you, she's going to stun you. Save your boop till after she stunned you. It makes it way harder for her to finish the kill. You go around the shield, that's great. You've got on speed boost, okay. There is a pretty wasted heal, but okay. Let's go to speed. Let's go to speed. Let's go to speed. There we go. Here, again, this Tracer is coming in. You cancel out your reload animation for a boop. Cancel it out with a melee, shoot her, then the boop, then she dies. Your boop you're using to disengage from targets that you should be able to kill.
Yep.
Again, there's no need to use the boop there. What is that Lucio going to do to you? Land the headshots because he's super close to you, not engaging with you, and then use the boop as the final post-melee combo. I haven't seen a single melee hit this entire game.
It seems like you think boop should be part of every fight with Lucio, and it's solely to displace people. So you need to assess a battle, a one-on-one, for instance, on whether or not it's valuable to displace them. If it's not, then don't use the boop.
Displace or final damage.
Yeah, or final damage, for instance. Yeah.
It is a higher damage shotgun type thing. Here's a good call out for everyone to group up. Eventually everyone comes together. This Reinhardt has overextended.
Yep.
This
Good
Brigitte gives up on life. You kill her with the boop. That's pretty good. Your tracking is decent.
This was an interesting thing that happened.
Yeah. So here is not a good place, but you happen to bounce over and get displaced enough that it is a good place.
Is that a thing that Lucio can do, or was it just by luck?
I think it's just luck.
Okay.
So you would have had yourself and one other person, but because you got booped over that wall, it was 2 people. It was crazy better.
Yeah. It became a valuable ult at that point.
Again, that tells me that your game sense is a little off in terms of determining where your team is and where you are in relationship to your team. The ults have been pretty great in general, but there's some slight things. Again, you boop her there because you don't want her to touch the point. She's full health, dude. She's gonna touch the point. She stuns you, and then she's going in. If she was with anybody else on her team, you would have been killed. There you go, with the boop, and that's the end of the game. A victory. A well-earned victory, Digital R2D2.
Yeah.
So in general, things that I think need to be reviewed a little bit for your gameplay to improve and you to go climb up on Lucio to that diamond level Lucio main. Game sense, know where you are in relationship to your team. Grandmasters are... Diamond is basically my Grandmaster at this point. Mechanically, I don't think I can do that. Make sure that you know where you are in relationship to your own team. Engage with more melees and know when and how to use your boop. Your boop is extra damage. It shouldn't be the first thing you engage with. It should be the last thing you use to finish off the combo.
Unless it's going to get a boop.
Unless it's going to push somebody off the map or disengage somebody that is pressuring you hard.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to point out you do use the terrain to your advantage very well. I think a lot of Lucios are when they get killed, they're out of the game for way longer than they need to be. Lucio is a character that can get back to the fight very quickly. So when he goes down, it may not necessarily be the end of the world. So that's something that you've obviously practiced a lot of and spent a lot of time on, and it pays off because you're in a lot of fights. So that's good.
Agreed. Yeah, your wall ride there on the forward wall rides is dope. Your backwards wall rides can mechanically use some things to match how exceedingly good your forward wall rides are. But again, that's very hard on console. And I think in general you're a very good Lucio player. I hope this video helped as much as we could do it, because neither of us are really Lucio mains.
You have a lot more time.
I have hundreds of hours on Lucio on console, but they're a little bit older.
They're from like season 1.
Yeah,
such a different game back then.
So since the meta has changed, I've also moved where my gameplay has gone to. So I know Lucio as a character, but not so well in the recent meta. But you've taught me some ones that I didn't know, honestly. So good on you.
Yvonne, do you want to do the play of the game? I feel like that's something we neglect. Oh, nice! A diva play of the game. Is this from
the
the
hammer
Reimer?
down? Yeah. This is the
a
hammer
sick
down
play.
combo.
That was risky. That was a nicely placed bomb.
Yeah.
It could have.
Especially to get that Pharah too.
Yeah,
that Pharah
was
wasn't
sick.
hammered down.
And then you get the sweet boop on Lucio at the end. All in all, Minotaur 685, sick play of the game. And Digital R2D2, thank you so much for sending in your video.
Really appreciate it.
See you guys next week. Bye.